Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we try to make good coffee on Breville Barista Pro. Right, so there's a few things I would like to share with everyone today. Right, first of all, I've roasted the Brazilian beans, which I roasted on the 14th of December, 14th of October, right, which is about 5 days old. So today we're gonna see how I can actually dial in the new beans. And as you can see on my cover photo, I have actually installed the new version of the lever, right, which is actually painted in metallic silver with a high gloss. So I hope that you like the new design and the new finishing. So as usual, we'll heat up the portafilter as well as I do the proper warming up of the machine by holding on to the single shot button until the manual start to flash on the LCD screen and let it run for 10 seconds. Right, and of course after that you dry up your portafilter. Right, today I'm going to use the bottomless. Right, and I have also obtained a new distributing tool. Right, so you can see this is actually the Brazilian Caldeus Royal beans, which is roasted on the 14th of October. It's 5 day old, right? So it's very fresh. So let's measure about 18.7 grams of beans. Usually I use about 18.5 grams, right, around there, right. I like to have a slightly higher dose. So I'm using the spoon from the milk that my kids used to have, and now I recycle it, so now it become my coffee bean spoon. Right, so please be patient with me today because we're going to run a few shots. I'm not too sure whether we can dial it in the first time. Right, so in the first and the second and another thing that I want to check is the Breville Barista Pro built-in grinder a good single dose grinder machine? So let's go to find out. So just now I measured about 18.7 grams of beans, and I also zero out the portafilter with the dosing funnel on. Right, currently the setting is on a grind size of 1, the smallest, the final setting on my burr. Internal burr is still at 6, but the external burr is now at the finest at a setting of 1. So let's try to measure and to see whether there's any retention. Right, as you can see, I didn't do an initial flushing. Usually we should try to throw a few beans inside so that we can flush the old beans out. Right, so I'm expecting this measurement to be slightly higher. Right, as you can see, just now we measured 18.7, now it's about 18.9 grams, so there's a 0.2 grams of old coffee beans that's inside the hopper. Right, so it's always good to flush out the old beans by throwing the beans that you're going to use to dial in the machine. Right, just flush out the beans and the next one should be much better. So let's try to pull a shot. Right, this is my old setting at a grind setting of 1, so I'm not too sure whether I can pull a good shot, but let's give it a try. Right, as usual, I'll use my finger to try to cup the coffee ground to so that it's more evenly distributed. Right, and this is the walnut finishing distributor tool that I've gotten. Right, if you're interested to get one, I'll list down the link in the description below. Right, so as usual, I actually like the ring pattern on the distributor, and recently I've discovered that if I give a gentle knock at the side after I distribute it and I distribute again, it actually causes all the ground that stick at the side of the bottomless portafilter to get settled down and it actually fall back in. And just do a light tap because I've measured the depth of the distributing tools, and actually there's no need to temp actually, but I still try to temp it to check whether the ground is actually firm. Right, so let's try to pull a shot. So from the bottomless portafilter, you can see the extraction of coffee and how well the coffee has been extracted. So I'm aiming a 1:2 ratio, right? So I'm using about 18.7 grams of beans, so I'm expecting about 38 grams of coffee out. About 40 grams will be quite good. As you can see, the flow of the extraction is rather slow, so I think this will be quite under extract. So but the coffee still looks pretty good, but I think that this shot is going to be quite sour. Right, you can see the extraction is only 21.8 grams. Right, so it's barely 1:1 point something ratio. Right, so this is under extraction, so definitely the espresso is going to taste sour. Right, let's give it a try. Cheers. We can see the crema. Right, so let's give it a try. I don't have any fancy spoon with me at the moment, so I just use my plastics bean spoon to actually stir it. Yes, indeed, it's rather sour and is not really drinkable, right? So let's try to pull a second shot. Right. So we're gonna use the same beans, right? The Brazilian beans. So I'm gonna measure about 18.5 to 18.6 grams of beans this time. Right. At the moment, this is our second try to dial in the new beans. So as you can see, the color of the rose is medium rose, and you can see that the mass of bean is about 18.6 gram. So again, I will try to see whether the retention of this built-in grinder can achieve zero retention. So again, I zero out the portafilter with the dosing funnel, and let's grind the beans. Right, this time I'll try to increase the external burst setting. Right, so now we will try to adjust to external burst setting of 3. Right, if you don't have any, if you actually flush out all the beans, you can actually adjust the cost setting on the burr anytime, right? If you have beans inside the hopper, then when you want to adjust the cost adjustment, you have to make sure that the grinder is activated before you adjust it. Right, otherwise the beans may that's stuck in between the burr may actually jam and dislocate, not dislocate and disengage the burr setting inside. Right, let's pull a shot and see how's the extraction this time. Right, remember the burst setting now is at 3. So let's see whether the shots can be improved. Again, we are aiming for 1:2 ratio. Right, we have 18.6 grams of beans in. So we are expecting about 37 to 38 grams of coffee out. Right, from the extraction is still a bit slow, which means to say that we are still grinding a bit too fine. So this shot will probably turn out to be sour again. Right, but you can see that it is slightly better than just now. Right, I overshot the time by about 3 seconds. Usually I do about 30 seconds of extraction. We can control the pre-infusion by holding the double shot button. Just hold it down, and usually I will hold the button for about 6 to 7 seconds and I'll release it. Then the pump pressure will kick in and the espresso will be extracted. Right, so you can yes, it's still quite sour, this shot, and it's slightly better than just now, but it's still a bit too sour to be drinkable. So this we'll try again. We'll try to do a third shot and to see whether we can improve the extraction, right? So this time we'll crank up the core setting to about 7. So from 3 we are jumping to 7. This is quite a big jump. So usually we do a step by step. Maybe I should have increased to 5 instead of 7, but never mind, let's give it a try. Right, we're going to measure about 18.6 to 18.7 grams of beans again this time. Right, you can see we're still using the same beans, right? And this is our third try to dial in the new beans. Right, so you can see the color of the beans is actually pretty nice. Right, we have measured about 18.7 grams, and we will be expecting to get 18.7 gram out, because this built-in grinder is actually pretty good for and it can actually hold it can actually be a pretty good single doser, as we can actually achieve 0 retention. So you can see now the grind setting is at 7. And you can see I usually runs about 16 seconds to grind the beans, but normally after the grinding has finished, I will engage the grinder again to make sure all the remaining coffee that's in still remaining inside the hopper to be totally flushed out. Right, so let's measure again to see whether we get 18.7 gram out. And you can see that we are getting 18.7 grams in and 18.7 grams out, which is pretty awesome for this Breville Barista Pro. Right, again, let's try to pull a shot and see how it is this time. Right, same procedure, distribute and temp. Right, a gentle knock at the side and distribute again, and give you a light temp. Right, so the only thing that we vary is the grind setting. Right, the rest of the factors we try to keep it the same. So let's see how the extraction will be this time. Right, to give you a better view, I actually on the flashlight so that we can see the extraction from the bottomless portafilter better. We can see that the extraction is much faster as compared to the previous 2 times, which means our grind setting is probably a bit too coarse. And this is what you're supposed to get if you have fresh coffee, right? You can see the crema is really awesome. Right, the microforms inside the espresso is really very good. I always like the Brazilian coffee because it will give you a chocolatey and nutty sort of a taste, and it's really good for latte. Right, so I will not be tasting the shot. I will think that this will still be a bit sour. So and you can see that the new lever that I've installed, which is very convenient. I don't have to turn the knob, I just have to flip the switch. Right, I hope that you have enjoyed so far of what I'm trying to do here, to dialing in the machine with new beans. Right, so usually new beans will require a few times to dial in. Normally I'll get it in about 3 to 4 times, and it will probably raise about less than 100 grams of beans. Once you dial in, it's pretty much set for this. So the next time you can just use this grind setting, right? I think for this bean the perfect grind setting will be about 5. Right, so I can actually slow down the extraction a bit as compared to our last shot. Right, give you a wipe down and a flush. So you can see with a lever is much easier. The flow is much smoother. Right, okay, so let's see whether I can pull latte art. Right, okay, thank you for staying with me and watch about 19 minutes worth of video. Right, and I hope you have like hope you like what I've been doing so far, and cheers. Right, not too bad for that. Right, so thank you for watching and see you next time.